seeks permanent trade solution. All right, reps pass bill. Your government says life sentence for Orire school abduction convicts inadequate. Calls for tougher anti-kidnapping laws. The story is on page 7. Right here you have 2027 Global Community looking up to INEC, says Amupito. Visits General Abdusalami Abubakar in Mina. One staff against compromise. Right, motorboy dies, 2 injured in multiple clash. Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Expert warns of worsening childhood oral health crisis in Nigeria's sugar consumption, specialist shortage rise. All right, court dismisses David Mack objection in ADC leadership suits. Order Mack and Regbe Shola to pay 500,000 naira each. Nigeria cannot be renewed without its workers, says Benga Ashim. All right, that story is there. Court gives NDLEA go ahead to destroy 480 billion naira meth lab in Ogun Forest. NUC approves AI integrated master program for American Open University in Nigeria. All right, on page 10, we already took that story. Let's quickly go to all the stories on the entertainment page. All eyes on Biggie's house as BB Niger season 11 premieres tomorrow. Right, societal G. Saisha Chimongo's cryptic message sparked speculations. Benga Daniel's in-law burial unites Ogun political gladiators. All right, weekend Lagos, every downpour now brings fair trepidation, and that's according to Lagos residents. If the Hebrew man business, what then did they have to do with politics? All right, let's come to the achievers page. Students who graduated with outstanding results know that smart work beats hard work. The story is there on page 18. Nigeria and Africa have the talent to build AI with global impact. That's coming from Michael Eni Olade. Right, kids and teen page. No child should go through this again. Ibadan students speak on the Oyo school abduction. That's there. Intimacy, managing peculiar spousal trait for marital success. All right, quickly, let me go to all the stories. Endless darkness every month. They bring estimated bill higher than my house rent. That's a big one. All right, you also have your rep, Oseni launches AI learning hub to prepare students for digital future. Troops arrest 5 suspect kidnappers, recover arm in Yobe. Ekiti records highest monthly IGR of 2.75 billion naira, assures taxpayer of fairness. Zamfara backs Agil project to expand girls' access to education. On the Vox Pop page, what stood out most for you in the Spain-Argentina World Cup final? Let's come to some sports story there. Semen remains among the global top 55. Otamendi quits international football. Fury wins to keep Joshua's showdown on track. And of course, Izurike bags first medal for Nigeria. Naira reign for medalists. Losing 0-3 to Forest will help Balkborn. That's coming from Alibi Oshu. And Gaslow 2026. Olufemilayo wins gold, set new world record. And of course, those are the stories that made the headline from the Saturday Tribune. But before Fumi takes over, let's take this commercial break, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
So disinfect your living room every day with Hypo.
Hypo, go Hypo. Protect your home every day with Hypo.
No green. Protect every day with Hypo.
Hypo, go Hypo.
Thank you very much for staying with us. Yes, we are still on the newspaper review, and this morning I have the Nation newspaper. On the front page, we have stories on pages 4 and 5. It says, Atiku Obasanjo war of words escalates over bribery claims. And the writer says, he gave Naba 5 million naira to impeach me, says former president. Ex-VP, why wait until speaker died before raising allegation? And that's word of words between both parties. Moving on to page 6, I'm clearing pensions mess you created. Tinubu slams Atiku, says economy has stabilized, vows to stay course on reforms. And on page 29, how Adeyemi's PFIPC entered 2026 appropriation by Budget Office Director General, tells reps panel the money never moved. Osun 2026, police declare Emir ex-convict wanted over political violence. NURT reject Adeleke's suspension, inaugurate caretaker committee, and that story is on page 3. Inside multi-billion-dollar visa ripoff on vulnerable Nigerians, others, and that's on page 11. And lastly, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, we have a story on page 26. It says, federal government set up committee to develop new VAT order. And that's all we have on the front page. Moving on to the back page, where we have some sports stories. International pairs, Python Golf Club to host Nigerian national finals. Glasgow 2026, Nwagu wins Nigeria's first gold, smashes Commonwealth record. And that's it. Klopp happy to coach German national team. Real Madrid willing to sell Tchouaméni to Manchester United. Onuachu Nwewi set for Trabzonspor pre-season tour. Pirlo set to become Italy's head coach. IOC declines to investigate Infantino over Trump links. And lastly, we have football. Language spoken without words. And that's all we have on the Nation newspaper this morning. And moving on from the newspaper review, we'll be heading straight to Travelogue. And talking of Travelogue this morning, we are heading to Osun Source in Igede, Ekiti. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is the source of Osun River, located in Igede, Ekiti. Irekpodun, Ifelodun local government area of Ekiti State. What we noticed was that as we were coming, the more the worshippers were chanting the incantation of Osun, the heavier the rainfall becomes. There's no way we can talk about the celebration of Osun Osogbo without reference to the source of the river, which has become a world center of attraction with worshippers all over the world. The internationally recognized river actually had its source in a remote town of Igede Ekiti in Ekiti State. Igede Ekiti is the headquarters of Irekpodun, Ifelodun local government area of Ekiti State, with a population of about 129,000. According to 2006 population census. Igede Ekiti covers a landmass of about 3.8 kilometers and bounded in the north by Awo Ekiti. Ilawe Ekiti in the south, Inye Ekiti and Aramoko were located in Igede East and West. The topography of Igede Ekiti makes the place a watershed region. There are 16 major rivers in Yoruba land that had their sources in Igede Ekiti, while Osun River was just one of the 16 rivers. Elemi, Ogbese, Osun, Ogoga, Oba, Inansi, Ogburu, and Okunsusi are some of the rivers who had their sources in Igede Ekiti. History has it that all the 16 rivers are human beings and are children of one parent, Enido and Ake, who in the process of fighting for supremacy and testing the powers bequeathed on them by their parents, all of them turned into river, with Osun becoming the most popular among them. The Osun River, otherwise worshipped and adorned as Osun Osogbo, had its source from Igede Ekiti and flowed towards Aramoko Ekiti, Ijero Ekiti, Imesile, before its final settlement at Osogbo, though its movement was also extended to Ibadan before heading to the Atlantic Ocean. The Yeyelo son of Igede Ekiti, Mrs. Ayodele Ajiyegbe, on behalf of BCOS crew, reenacted the worshipping procedure of the Osun in Igede Ekiti. In an interview at the Osun Source, the Yeye Osun said the Osun Source has the spiritual power to heal whatever ailment is brought before her, coupled with ability to bless the barren.
àti gèdè yìí ni Ọ̀ṣun ti lọ sí gbogbo ibi tó lọ dé ìlú òyìnbó dé Òṣogbo òun ló dé Òṣogbo òun ló dé Ìjẹ̀ṣà òun ló dé ẹ̀rìn Ìjẹ̀ṣà àwọn ìlú pọ̀ tó dé àwọn ìlú ó dé Ọ̀bà gbogbo ibi ló dé kò síbi tí ìyá mi ò dé àwọn ìsọ̀gbẹ̀ bíi mọ̀lẹ́bí wọn pátápátá ni wọ́n do omi ní omi kò sí omi tó ṣàn wá sí ìlú Ìgèdè ní gbogbo omi ti ṣàn lọ òkun gan ilé omi ni mo ti ń sọ yìí òkun gan orísun ẹ̀ wà ní ìlú Ìgèdè.
The Onigede of Igede Ekiti, Oba James Adelusi Aladesoru II, who has been on the throne for 60 years, also confirmed Igede Ekiti as the source of Osun River. He said the name Igede Ekiti was derived from the incantation being chanted by the 16 children of Enido and Ake, who later turned into rivers while contesting the powers of supremacy. Igede is a Yoruba word which a section of Yoruba also referred to as Ofo or Ogede in Oyo dialect. The Director General of the Ekiti State Council for Arts and Culture, Ambassador Wale Ojolanre, said the state government is set to preserve all the 24 sacred groves located in Ekiti State as part of effort to ensure cultural sustenance and improve on tourist attraction.
The group you have visited, the Osun Water, Ogunoniri, in fact, Omila is from this place, he stays there. Then Eshu said, all those sacred places are being enlisted to be developed and we are really working on it. And let me tell you, there isn't a budget for it. They are providing a special budget known as Art and Culture Intervention.
Ekiti is one of the states in the southwest region that is richly blessed with tourist potentials. Ability to harness such potentials could as well translate to financial blessings. Abiodun Akinkunle, BCOS News.
Right, yes, that was Osun Source in Igede Ekiti. And right now, we're coming back home to Ibadan. Talking of Ibadan warlord, stay with us.
Gbogbo Ìbàdàn lẹ́dúpẹ́ òkúlẹ̀ bàbá wa. Olúyọ̀lé lẹ́dúpẹ́ òkúlẹ̀ bàbá wa. Òkè Àdó lẹ́dúpẹ́ òkúlẹ̀ bàbá wa. Òróró ilẹ̀ ní bàbá fún wa bí ìsún omi.
The exploits of the Ibadan warlords in the various wars across Yoruba land is a confirmation of the bravery and brilliance of progenitors of Ibadan, especially when it comes to prosecution of wars. Ibadan played major roles in ensuring that all attempts to attack or invade Yoruba territory were repelled and Yoruba land is victorious. After the fall of Ilorin to the Fulanis and collapse of the Oyo Empire, all other important events in Yoruba land revolved around Ibadan, which was the strongest power that emerged. At a point in the history of Ibadan land, performance in battle became the criterion for accession to the chieftaincy hierarchy. The situation which attracted to Ibadan many brave and talented warriors who had distinguished themselves in the defense of the fallen Oyo Empire. Some of the warlords of Ibadan included Basharun Ogunmola, the son of Orisaguna from Fesu compound in Iwo. He was very short in stature, but the devil to the enemies at the war front. He was a gallant soldier who moved from Fesu to Isheyin before final relocation to Ibadan to form alliance with Iba Oluyole. He won many wars for Ibadan, especially the Ijaye War. Among the war generals of Ibadan was Balogun Ibikunle. Ibikunle hailed from Ijado near Ogbomoso. He came to Ibadan during the reign of Baale Maye Okunade. Based on his strength and valor, Balogun Ibikunle was nicknamed Kiniun Onibudo. Balogun Ibikunle was second to none in the battlefield. He was courageous and fought for several years for Ibadan land. Ibikunle built a protective wall called Odi Ibikunle around Ibadan in 1858. Another prominent Ibadan son who displayed gallantry at the war front was Balogun Oderinlo. Oderinlo was the Balogun of Ibadan land and reigned around 1850. Oderinlo rose to prominence as one of the chiefs who played an active role in the rebellion against Lakanle before Lakanle's eventual suicide. Oderinlo was the Balogun who led the Ibadan troops to fight in the Second Ibadan-Ilorin War at Oshogbo, a war that Ibadan won comprehensively. The army of Ibadan equally attacked Ilesha to rescue Oshogbo. From that war, the Ibadan army ventured into Ekiti for the release of Otun, which was attacked by Ilorin army. They also fought in Ara to reinstate the Alara, who was then having problems with his people. Balogun Oderinlo was among the 6 generals who plotted against Oluyole. At the time Basharun Oluyole died, Balogun Oderinlo was planning to go on a war to Okeogun. So, when the entire council of Ibadan invited Oderinlo to become the Baale, he declined, saying he wanted to win that war first. Historians speculate that he wanted to gather the wealth from the war to boost his claim to the rulership of Ibadan at the time. Balogun Oderinlo went to the war and came back. He won the war and gathered enough loot and slaves to bring back to Ibadan. However, few months after his return to Ibadan from Okeogun, as he was said to be announced as Baale of Ibadan, Balogun Oderinlo died mysteriously. To this day, nobody knows how Balogun Oderinlo died, but the sudden and mysterious nature of his death has led many to speculate that he may have been poisoned. After his demise, Baale Opeyagbe replaced him on the throne of Ibadan. The Ekefa Olubadan of Ibadan land, Senior Chief Lekan Alabi, who is also the first cultural ambassador, National Museum and Monuments, Ile-Ife, noted that Ibadan warlords can best be described as the major savior of Yoruba land, especially during the Fulani invasion.
The present Ibadan is the third Ibadan that grew out of a settlement at about 1820, 1825, and it started as a military camp following the fall of the old Oyo Empire, which was somewhere near in present-day Niger State. As a result of the flock of Yorubas from the Oyo Empire, the Ibadan army rose up as a defender of Yoruba land. Yoruba stock from all Yoruba land started hearing about the new military camp called Ebaudo, which today is shortened to Ibadan. The popular generals Ibikunle, Ogunmola, Ojo, Suberu Ajengbe. So they went out to fight enemies or any opponent, anybody, any group that wanted to stall the growth, peace, unity of the Yoruba land. The most famous is the Jalumi War. As a result of the treachery of Afonja, Are Ona Kakanfo of Yoruba land, he had become so powerful and wanted to have the crown or the position of the Alaafin of Oyo to his being Are Ona Kakanfo. So Afonja was holding forth at Ilorin on behalf of Alaafin. But Afonja became too ambitious and wanted to take over the stool of Alaafin. He thereafter sought in his own mind the help, spiritual help of a Fulani Malam called Alimi. So he invited Alimi to Ilorin to be praying for him so that he will overcome Alafin. But rather than do that, Alimi was doing incantations that will bring down Afonja, unknown to Afonja. And he was inviting mercenaries, recruits from Sokoto. So they amassed in Afonja Palace and struck one night, killing Afonja, killing his son, and demolishing.
Excuse me, ma. This your 100%
Babes, are you sure you want to spend this much on hair? Since your landlord just increased rent,
I saved for this one separately on money points. No, you say you save on money points? Yes. This madam money points here. The array of Yadrea there is target savings money points I used to have it. The rest of this my sub is this savings money points I used to do it. The salary of this my staff is save as you transact.
Jennifer, money point save as you transact. Money point fixed savings and money point target savings.
What's up? Why did I don't contribute to you? Why should I? Come on, oh, you go give your money to Adaku to save. You see money points accounts there. You don't go open a savings account. Now Adaku you shoot. I beg everybody inside this my saloon. Oh, yeah, bring out your phone and download the money points hack now. Even you. What are you waiting for? Download the money points hack now. Adaku, wow, open money points account too.
Money Point, made for your progress.
Protect every day with hypo.
Germs always find a way back.
So disinfect your living room every day with hypo.
Hypo, go hypo. Protect your home every day with hypo.
No green. Protect every day with hypo.
Go hypo.
Killing Afonja, killing his son, and demolishing his post as a Aron Kakanfo. Then the jihadist, the Fulani jihadist, took over Ilorin. So having captured Ilorin by deception and the overambition of the Aron Kakanfo, they now moved gradually towards Osogbo, passing through Ofa. It was then the Ataoja of Osogbo sent for help to Ibadan. And Ibalu they now mobilized his generals, the ones I've mentioned, Ibikunle, Ogumola, Ojo, to go and face the jihadists in Osogbo. And that's how Ibadan army not only defeated the jihadists, but drove them outside these walls of Ofa.
Are Obadoke Latosa Asubiaro was another warrior produced in Ibadan land. He was born at Ilora around 1820. He joined the Ibadan army through Ogumola and rose to become Otunbalogun and later became the Generalissimo of Yoruba Empire, Are Ona Kakanfo. Are Latosa personally took over the command of the Ekiti-Parappa War in 1880. Are Latosa died quietly in an Ibadan camp in 1885. Ibadan led the battle during the Jalumi War, Ekiti-Parappa, Kiriji War, Ijaye War, Fulani Jihad War, and other internal wars prosecuted by the Ibadan warlords. One of the great-grandsons of Latosa, Chief Mabinu Ori Adigboyega, who has also assumed the title of Are Latosa, spoke about the exploit of his great-grandfather in the war front.
Mohammed Obadoke Are Latosa Ashibiaro Agedegudu. He was the first African man to combine civil and military leadership. He was the Olubadan of Ibadan, at the same time the war generalissimo of the Yoruba in 1871 to 1885. We have a lot of people that knows about war. We never lose any war in Ibadan. Even the Ijebu War, the Egba War, and the Ekiti Wars, and the Kurumi Wars, we always win. In short, if you are not a warrior, you are nothing in Ibadan. And let me now talk about Kiriji War, which was fought by my forefather. This is Ilesha. This is Ekiti. And my father went straight in between them. And he sat down there and he won the war. The Ijeshas was at the back and the Ekiti were at the front, and he was at Igbajo in the middle of the war. That's why he pitched his tents and he won the war.
A professor of history from the Premier University Ibadan, Professor Olutayo Adesina, noted that the power wielded by Ibadan warlords later made them to be tyrannical, which also led to Ekiti Parappa War in rebellious to Ibadan tyrannical attitude.
Ibadan became a place where these generals congregated, and so at the end of the day, at the most crucial period in Yoruba history, they proved very helpful and very significant. And the most significant of it all was the one where Balogun Oderinlo was at the head of the Ibadan army that stopped the Fulani invasion at the Battle of Osogbo in 1840. And so it's very significant that Ibadan saved Yoruba land from the scourge of these people, and so we have had a long history of these generals. They had gone to Ekiti to take control of that region, and we also have to talk about Efunshito Anigura, who actually was behind them, provisioning them. She even had her own army, always lending support to the Ibadan army at any battle site. So Ibadan was famous for all these war generals. But one significant thing about them was that they were people who were cerebral, profound people, full of strategies and tactics. They weren't going to go into battle blindly. They knew what they were doing. Yeah. So there is no way you can talk about Yoruba history without talking about Ibadan history. But at some point, Ibadan also became tyrannical, like all powerful countries, all powerful people. Ibadan also became tyrannical. And so when it came to the Ekiti experience, Ibadan became very tyrannical. Ibadan became very powerful, and so started to expand her power and influence. And so in conquering Ekiti land, she began to send those we call the Ajeles to rule over the Ekitis. And so the Ajeles also became tyrannical, taking wives, levying money arbitrarily, and being generally unruly. That was what caused the Ekiti Parappa War. To say, no, Ibadan must go. So no matter how strong you are not likely to be totally benevolent when it comes to power and the use of power. The use of power comes with the abuse of power.
No matter how, Ibadan will continue to be relevant in the scheme of things in Yoruba land, owing to the high level of bravery and strategy displayed at the war front by the Ibadan warlords. Abiodun Akinkunle reporting for Saturday Special.
Thank you very much for staying with us. This morning, we will be x-raying illegal admissions and fake university, illegal admissions and fake universities. Of course, we saw what happened recently in Badagry, talking of a crackdown. But before we go into the nitty-gritty of this conversation, we'll be right back after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Talking of the illegal admissions and fake universities in Nigeria, the recent crackdown on a fake university in Badagry, Lagos State last week, where over 100 students were rescued, has once again exposed the growing menace of illegal admissions and unaccredited tertiary institutions in Nigeria, despite repeated warnings by the National Universities Commission, NUC, and the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM. Many admission seekers continue to fall victim to degree mills and institutions that admit students outside JAM's Central Admission Processing System, CAPS. This raises serious concerns about quality assurance, regulatory enforcement, and the future of higher education in Nigeria. To do justice to this conversation this morning, we have an educational measurement and evaluation scholar, Professor Adams Onuka. Prof, good morning, sir.
Good morning, viewers.
It's good to have you around.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. All right, so Prof, it just baffles my mind when we talk about rescuing students, and one would have expected that if students went through due process of gaining admission into institutions, I mean, we might not be where we are, but a quick one, let's look at it. When we talk about illegal admission and fake universities, how did we get there in Nigeria? Because, I mean, from what I know, I can't remember when we started having fake universities in Nigeria.
Well, when you talk about fake universities, by the time we started approving private university in LIPS, you are sure that there are people who will also fake. Because it's not only in the case of a tertiary institution that you have fake. Everything, you have heard that a whole agency is fake.
Allege.
Well, whether to allege means there is something that is more than what meets the eye.
Let's just leave there.
I'm just telling you that if you have a whole agency of federal government being alleged to be fake, then you can understand why you can have fake universities where you have approval being given to many universities, and is, of course, some people are proposing and they will start admitting, have not gone through the process. And, well, I think the people who gain admission because of desperation, like you said already, they did not do due diligence.
How do you gain admission without going through JAMB and the not institution of reputation?
There are people, even in the normal one, the approved one, there are people who want to gain admission through earnings. They are ready to pay if they have people to assist. And there are people, of course, there are clerks who will put, when they are doing admission list, somebody will take away somebody's name and put another person's. And that person is fake, but the original person had been removed, and somebody has been used to replace the original. That person is fake.
Okay, Prof, let's go back to memory lane.
Let me tell you.
How did we start admission in universities when you were young? You know, we grew up to meet what you had gone through.
Yeah.
Maybe an improved version.
Okay.
How was it like when you were growing up?
Yeah, we were the first Jambite.
See?
And prior to that...
Congratulations, Prof.
Thank you. Prior to that, every university admits. And I think when people saw that some people have duplicated admission and others are deprived of the opportunity because you have admission in ABU, you have admission in UI, you have admission in UNN, and somebody have applied to these ones and they don't have. So they felt there should be a central body that coordinates. And it happened that when we were trying to go was when JAMB started in 1978. So it harmonized admission. You are allowed to. Of course, up to now you choose 3 universities. That's why I said anybody who went to fake university should be blamed because there is due diligence. Now, NUC has the list of approved universities, and they work in collaboration with JAMB. JAMB gets this approved list, and they list them out in their brochure. And if you went to a JAMB brochure and you didn't find the name of a university there, and JAMB didn't advertise that they had approved this university, maybe it was approved, in between JAMB's admission, and then they want to start. They go to JAMB to obtain permission, and JAMB will have to, and then they will have to now advertise for admissions. So if you didn't see you are going to a university that is not approved by JAMB, and if it is not approved by JAMB, invariably it is not approved by the NUC, because there are processes. You see, sometimes we blame agencies, but haven't gone through how they approve private universities. I won't blame them, because you apply, and it's about 14 steps that you have to go through to have your university pass through. You apply, they come, they do this thing, they give you application form, you pay, you give them documents, they go through. Then after some time, they will come for what they call the first verification exercise, in which they tell you what to put in place. And when they come, they look at these things. If there's any deficient, they give you another opportunity to, fix them up. And then they come for second verification, during which they go through all the things they want you to go through. And of course, after that, they have to, even the DSS have to interview the board of trustee members. They have to do checks on them. So it is not an easy thing. There are so many things you do. So if a university, before you are listed, that you went through this, does not mean you are listed. After all due diligence, they have to recommend to the Federal Executive Council. And the Federal Executive Council, upon approval, advertise it that they have approved so number and list the name of the universities. And if they go through all this and you want admission and you don't find their names in the brochure of JAMB, you have the duty of not going, or you go and ask JAMB, is this really existing? So if you went through, then you see there's conspiracy of the citizens. There are people around those places that we know that this thing is not officially registered, approved, and they don't report.
Bro, before we come to the conspiracy of the citizens you mentioned, I think we should still talk about the NUC now and JAMB. You stated that if the institutions are not clearly stated by JAMB to say these are the accredited universities that you can apply, and we know that it is being updated on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
Just like there are some universities that NUC would give approval on a yearly basis. But are we going to say because of how cumbersome the approval is by NUC? Is that why? Because when I was looking at some of the lists by the NUC list 58 fake universities in Nigeria, and looking at some of the lists, there are some universities you ask yourself, really, this university is among even some private universities that have a lot of students. I really wouldn't want to name names right now. But you ask, is it because the process is cumbersome and maybe they've been flagged to say, okay, you can go ahead while you continue your registration process? Is that what happens sometimes?
No, we are pushing one through, and we've been pushing it for years now. Since April last year, they have come for the second verification, and will be going through. They recently came to, to screen or whatever, the Board of Trustees. It is still not yet approved. It is waiting approval of the Federal Executive Council. So they will never ask you, And me from that, and that is the second university. I had another one. That was a public university. Is easier because they know the government. If it is government, government is going to sustain it. Because all they are trying to do is to ensure that the citizens are not shortchanged. The citizens are not put into confusion. So it is not, I have had the opportunity of having to, get true verification. So I can say for sure that they will never permit you to continue pending approval. You wait until you are licensed. In fact, it is after the approval by the Federal Executive Council that you will be licensed. And if you are not licensed, you cannot operate. So it is not question of whether it is the fault of the NUC. I can vouch in this wise that the process does not permit such. If anybody does such, then it will be at its own risk. Because even those who come, they have to go and defend before the management their recommendation. They will present, documents. They will present films to show that it is a fact
so these
that
are
they
clear
went through.
verification processes.
Yes.
There is no confusion about it.
No.
You cannot say, "Oh, I thought I had gone past this
No.
stage." It's a clear process.
It's a clear process.
Whoever eventually establishes
14 steps.
So whoever eventually establishes, a university, and the NUC eventually come out to say this is a fake university, then it's an intentional act.
It's an intentional act. People are so desperate making money that they don't care. Look at drugs, even food. People sell fake food. They don't care about the life of the citizenry. You see, the fact is that we are so selfish in this country that we don't care about the safety and security of lives.
Okay, Prof, let's look at it.
It is not only those who breach security, something that are against our lives and property.
Okay, Prof, let's quickly look at the issue of JAMB brochure.
Mm-hmm.
When I was finished secondary school, JAMB used to have a brochure, a physical brochure, had copy. Huh? And once you pay, these are things that you get.
It comes with.
Yes, it comes with it.
Yes.
But now you don't have a brochure, a physical brochure.
Yeah, but you have an electronic brochure.
No, because again, it might also be the reason why many people run into trouble getting into fake or illegal universities. And why am I saying this? It's because if I applied for JAMB, my child applied for JAMB, and we filled, the form was filled online. In fact, a lot of the centers were filling nonsense for the children. Unlike when we had opportunity to fill 3 universities, now they have opportunity for only 2 universities, 2 polytechnics. They've been merging into one, form. Now, what we were paying way back then, I can't remember how much I paid for JAMB form. But what is being paid now is higher.
I pay 5 naira.
Don't go there. I'm sure maybe I did also pay more than 1,200 or, or 3,000 or something. But the point is, if they don't have the access to this, you don't have access to this list of universities. JAMB needs to also make it visible for people.
I believe that they would, if you follow the due process in this thing, the fact is that they are there's no way they won't make the list available online. But if for instance, you are talking of a center filling for somebody. So if the people don't do due diligence, if somebody is filling form massively for so many people, you should be sure that they don't do due diligence.
That's what is happening.
They are not doing due diligence. You see, during our time...
These are the gaps in this e-registration that we have.
Well, everybody is moving from hard copy, analog, to e-registration.
No, nobody is saying we should stay with analog. Yes, well, AI has come to stay.
Let people...
But the point is, how do we ensure that people have access, real access, to the list of universities? Because if we begin to mention, names enlisted by JAMB or NUC as illegal, even a lot of people at home will marvel that maybe the next to your house is that particular university that you thought, is running.
But if next to your house, you should have known that it has been approved or not approved.
How would they know?
You see, when the process goes on, at least for 2 times, you will know that a process is going on. If you didn't see any process going on, you didn't see people coming, people running up and down, bringing people, then you should know there is something wrong with that. I would not want to believe, I've not gone through, that JAMB does not have a list. They have a list. I think what must have happened is that people are not patient enough to go to, this e-registration of any kind. I have problems sometimes. I have problems because you are trying to get on and get to time. You don't try to see maybe how do you do it, all these things. And so until you fail, then you start coming back to say, okay, how should I have done it? So this is the problem. You are saying people are registering for people. And then another problem with that is that the people who are seeking admission know very little and they want to know very little. They are not ready. There is nothing, when you are seeking an assistant or something from someone, you have to do some due diligence. You have to exercise patience. But what I have discovered is that when I knew somebody who just came from my place and said this. I told him, I will take you to the admission office. I will not beg them. If your child is qualified, I know that the University of Ibadan will not reject him. The man got angry and went away. I mean, you have those kind of things. They just want you, whether. I was in the admission office one day to see the admission officer, and the person came from Lagos, and the woman was telling the person that this thing is just impossible. For 1 hour, the man was trying to in my presence, not behind me. I was patient because I wanted to know the type of woman the admission office, and she proved to be somebody who has integrity.
Okay, let's quickly look at some of the universities, the 58 that were mentioned. I'd like to mention a few of them.
Yes.
As been stated by the National Universities Commission, NUC, said that the list of universities are University of Accountancy and Management Studies, operating anywhere in Nigeria, Christian of Charity American University of Science and Technology, for Anambra State, University of Industry, Yaba, Lagos, University of Applied Science and Management, Port Novo, Blacksmith University, Oka, Volta University College, HO, Volta Region, Ghana, Royal University, Italia, that's in Abakaliki in Ebonyi State, Atlanta University in Anyigba, Kogi State. You have United Christian University, Makoti's campus in Imo State. You have United Nigeria University College, Okija, Anambra State. Samuel Amadu University, Makurdi, Benue State. You also have UNESCO University in Ndoni, Rivers State. You have St. Augustine's University of Technology, Jos. The International University, Misro, USA, USA in Kano and Lagos Study Center. You have Columbus University in the United Kingdom operating anywhere. Pebbles University, UK operating anywhere. Lagos External Studies, UK operating anywhere. Pilgrim University operating anywhere. Lobi Business School. You have West Africa Christian University, Volta University College, JBC Seminary Incorporated, Western University SA, Kwara State, St. Andrews University College, Abuja, AEC Council USA Ikeja, Atlas University, Concept College University, Alphax Gateway University, Kingdom of Christ University, Akada, and on and on and on. I don't know where I'm going to stop if I continue.
Okay.
And you have so many of them. And these are names, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I've come across some of these names before.
Most of them. You see, this is the problem. That is why I say the people who went to those universities are to be held responsible. because they didn't do due diligence. No. Even just mentioning those things, you will know that they are hardly existing. Because, you see, NUC publishes every new university they had approved and that had been licensed by the government.
Through which channel?
Through the public media.
Okay.
Yeah, we read it. In fact, every time they finish Federal Executive Council where they approve universities, it is the Minister of Education reads the names, and even when they go for their license, they are, you see them on the media, both print and electronic media. So if you who wants to go to university must do due diligence to ensure that you are looking out for any new university. Prof, if you are not desperate.
Prof, I'm glad you have experience when it comes to registering, getting license for universities from the NUC.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, let's be objective. A university, what should it look like? What should it have?
Well, it depends on what type of university. If you are going to be an open university, you have to have the technology. And you may not have much building, but at least technology is not stored in the air. They are stored in a building.
When you say technology, what do you mean?
I mean electronic technology, because that is what you are going to use to educate the people. You are going to do it online mostly. So because of that, you have to have that. Then if you are a conventional university, it depends on which type of courses you are starting with. The lab, the other equipment that are necessary should be there. The offices the people who will manage, the quality of the people, because they are going to see, your staff mix and then what their qualification and they have to be physical there. So you are having the human capacity, you are having technology capacity, you are having infrastructural capacity. If you don't have all this, they are not going to waive it. I know that for sure. They want to ensure. And again, in the next 2 years, they are coming back for accreditation. So, and if you have, faked those things, will you fake them again? Because these are some of the things. It is every 2 years. Once they approve you, they will leave you for 2 years. By the time your students are in the second year, they want to see what you have done, what you are going to do before they accredit. That is why they have partial, interim, and full accreditation.
But Prof, I think we are dwelling so much on the fake admissions and fake universities. But what about the issue of accreditation also? Because sometimes universities get verification, you're approved by NUC to operate. There are times that the universities eventually starts taking courses that are not accredited. And unfortunately, we have seen instances where some students graduate from courses that were not accredited by NUC and eventually boomerangs. Now, how do issues like that also pop up, that you eventually admit students into courses that have not been accredited?
Now, I've told you, if you start a university, your accreditation does not come until the second year. And when it comes, there are people, our people are so desperate. I said we are concerned more about ourselves than the citizenry. And so, because you want to make money, you are not accredited. You still hope. And of course, some of them think they can bribe their way through. I want to believe that is why they go on, admitting people to unaccredited courses. So the fault is more of the proprietors and the staff. Because if I'm in a school and I know that it's not accredited, for whatever reason, either you get it accredited or I get out of your staff. Because I would not want to meddle up with such things. I would not want my name to be associated with such things.
Okay,
but many of us are not ready to do that.
Okay, Prof, let's look at universities that are fake, as it is being called. There are human beings lecturing in those universities. How come I'm lecturing in a fake university? How did we get there?
Well, people...
How did they recruit the fake? Because that also tells me that the lecturers are also fake.
How did the bandit recruit informants?
I mean...
No,
let's not go there. No, let's not do the bandit way.
No, it is the same thing.
No, it's not.
People are desperate. Let me tell you, we say there is high level of unemployment. People graduate, people have PhD and what have you, they don't have jobs. And somebody comes and tell you, the fact is that you may not even know yourself that is fake, because they tell you they have gone through this, they have gone through that, until somehow, but if you too do due diligence, and by the time you are there for 6 months, you should be able to know, because there are things that we show you. Regularly, you invite courses. You see, it is because in a university, for instance, they may invite NUC for accreditation of 5 courses, of 10 courses, and then as they are finishing that in a little while, they invite them for other ones. They do it as they are able. So if they are able, NUC will bring people from all over the place to do it. If you are not able, they give you the number of people that will do the accreditation of the courses that you require.
Prof, I don't think you're answering that question. Yes, talking about lecturers now.
No, I'm
when
coming.
When they are fake universities,
I am
there are
coming
lecturers
to
that.
Who are presumed fake.
That is what I'm saying.
Now,
I'm coming to that. I'm saying that if you are in a school,
yes,
and for many sessions, you don't see that happening, then you should know that there is something wrong.
You should question.
That is is a continuing process.
Looking at what happened,
then you should be able to ask that, when are we going to accredit these courses? The certificate is given. That is why I told you, if it is partial, it means you will have to call them back again to come and complete. If it is interim, it does not last more than 2 years. So if it is full, it is 5 years, they will come again.
One more thing, Prof.
So that is why, if I am in such a school and I don't see those things happening, then I should know that it's fake.
Should you not even do your due diligence before
taking up? Yes.
It may not be possible because you are looking for work.
The same students are looking for admission.
I said expression. You are looking for work. You go there and the person tells you, you see, gives you a very good background and all those things. We have done this, we have done that. You are not going to ask, where is your certificate? But by the time you get there, certain things, that is what I was telling you, certain activities will reveal to you or not. If you are there for 2 years and no such activities,
so should
then
that
you know
not
that
also apply to students? Because it feels like you're already giving excuses for the lecturers, whereas you're blaming the students.
Yes, I'm blaming because the lecturer is looking for money. You are going to pay money, and you are looking for knowledge. You are looking for skills.
I mean, for a lecturer who is not doing due diligence also before applying, how do you want to impact students you're going to teach? Prof, before we continue on that conversation, we have a commercial.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Germs always find a way back.
So disinfect your living room every day with Hypo.
Hypo, go hypo. Protect your home every day with hypo.
No green. Protect every day with Hypo.
Hypo, go hypo.
Back. It's still Saturday special, and we still have in the studio with us Professor Adams Onuka, who is an educational measurement and evaluation scholar. Thank you for still being with us.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you for staying tuned at home. All right, of course, before we went on that break, Prof was talking about the fake lecturer thing. But for me...
No, not the fake lecturer. Lecturers in fake university. Just like students in fake university.
But when we talk about lecturers in fake university,
they're also fake.
They might, I mean, for some of them might have gone through the right educational background. But let's look at it from this angle that, I mean, for an individual to have established a fake institution, do you think those lecturers would also be qualified? So we might as well say they are fake lecturers also.
Well, I am not going to, I blame students because they didn't do due diligence, because they are going to pay, I'm coming, they are going to pay money, they are going to acquire knowledge. The lecturers are going to give, and for money.
Can they give what they do not have? If you as a lecturer willingly decide to go to a fake institution, you have also not done your due diligence to know that this institution is not accredited. This institution is not working under the right guideline of NUC. But you're going there to work. Is that also
what I'm saying? They have their own blame, but you see, the difference is that they are going to earn and give out service.
Prof, don't you think at this point such lecturers should be penalized?
They should.
And the certificates should be withdrawn if they are truly professionals. Because, I mean, I can't imagine yourself.
No, they should be penalized. I'm not saying they should not be penalized. But I'm saying they are going there because of the economy. It's not that they don't do. You see, you go. How do you do due diligence? When I was admitted, or when I went to the University of Ibadan for employment, I knew that I didn't have to do any due diligence because I know it is government property, and so it's established. But if I'm going to go to a private, and the person say, I have been doing this, I have done this, I have done that, you know, it is not going to be something. Now, they have premise. Anybody wanting to go to a university with this number of fake should be able to now know that, let me go to the bronchial of JAMB to find out if this university is in existence, or go as far as going to the office of NUC in between JAMB examination to find out whether a new university has been approved. I agree with you that to some extent they didn't do due diligence, but also there are questions you cannot ask when you are looking for employment. That is what I'm saying. Because you just see somebody, you see these people, if you know them, I've come across them, if you know them, the way they talk, the way they do things, the way they display this thing.
You will believe them.
You will believe them. But until you get there. But then, by 3 months, if you are there in 3 months, you should be able to know whether this is fake or not.
Oh, okay, Prof, let's look at what the recent crackdown by NSCDC in Lagos last week.
Yeah.
Where over 100, I think about 106 thereabouts, were rescued. Students, yes, were rescued from that institution in Badagry. And number one, I had an issue with the word rescuing those children, with that word rescue. Secondly, it was said that they were operating from a 3-bedroom apartment. 100 students, 3-bedroom apartment. How were they stuffed into each of those rooms? What were they doing? And I really don't want us to look at it from, a psychological aspect now, because if out of those over 100, none of you could reason and say, oh, is it possible? We see institutions in Nigeria.
3-bedroom. The reason is that, are you saying that there are no offices? So if it was a 3-bedroom, then it should be a compound that has, maybe they have created an extension where students receive their lectures. 100 is not much. All you need to do is have 30 in a room. And once 30
13. What's the size of the room? 30 in a room is.
No, that's why I said they may have, because one of the pictures I saw showed that there was an extension within that compound where, they may have been having activities and all of that. But again, I'm also curious, why would we use the word rescue? Rescue is someone in danger. So
they are in danger. If somebody's future is in danger, you say it's not rescue. Because it's a rescue in the sense that they are being stopped from endangering their lives and future.
Yes. You choose to jackpot now.
Eh?
And you get there and you learn that the country you are in is having some natural disasters. So you will be waiting for somebody to rescue you when you went there.
If they knew that it was fake. I told you that.
But when they got there and realized, on getting there, you should have seen that this does not look like a normal institution setting.
All these
Why did they not leave?
Symptoms. You see, until we change our orientation, all of us, the government, people, about certificates. Because some people, you see, emphasis is on certificate. And so people just want to get certificate. Why are polytechnic not, faked? Why are colleges of education? Why are schools of nursing? It's just because the emphasis is on, university. Ordinarily, why were they these tiers of even tertiary institution? Each has to produce a particular set of manpower. But that is fake. That is why. The thing is that polytechnic was to complement the university. There are, for instance, let me go into engineering. The engineers are designers. The technologists, which are supposed to be, are the ones who interpret what the engineer had designed, and then even develop certain of those things, and then they are coupled by the technicians. But this, you see, these three tiers in the engineering industry is no longer there, because everybody wants to be a graduate. So that has to be solved, and everything properly defined. If we are going to collapse them all to university, then it all means that we letting the period people stay and let everybody learn all the skills and the knowledge that are appertaining to those disciplines. Until we do that, we will still get it, because people are just desperate. In fact, I think the open and distance learning has come a long way to reduce, desperation. Otherwise, you find more desperation. And people just, if you see building, some of the building, you are talking of the walls, you may get to some of the buildings that you will never believe that they are fake, because the people have money, but they want to cut corner. They believe that if along the line they can, I want to believe that one of the things that make them go on is that they think along the line they will find their way through. But
Prof,
the back
do you
door.
think some of these universities are using the educational institution as a should I say coy for other businesses?
Yeah, that is it. That is it. In fact, even those that are not fake, or many of the private schools that are not fake, they are not ready. Normally in those days, when we were growing up, working in the industry gives you more prestige and money than being a lecturer, than being a university. But now, in the private, whether anything you do in the private, but even go to secondary school, go to primary school, and compare the payment, compare some of the facility in some of the primary schools, private. Not all of them, some are very good, but they don't pay. So you find all of these things, they don't want to pay. They are not paying, they want to cut corner. They want to, okay, if we have gotten approval, if 10 courses are approved for us, if we can do 5, which to me is falsehood. So until we are able to, curb all of those things, and you don't curb them by, fiat. You don't curb them by law enforcement. We curb them by being self-disciplined, by having a kind of cultural and national orientation that that place people above monetary gains.
All right, okay. We have a commercial break, and when we return, I want us to look at parents and, of course, these students and why they fall into the prey of the fake institutions. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
tí wọ́n ń béèrè wípé àjọ wo ní tún jẹ́ Ọ̀yọ́ ETF ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló dá Ọ̀yọ́ ETF sílẹ̀ àpètàn rẹ̀ sì ni Ọ̀yọ́ State Education Trust Fund kí ètò ẹ̀kọ́ kó lè yanrantí sí i nípa wíwá àwọn ọ̀nà míì tíjọba omi tuntun yóò ṣe túbọ̀ rí owó pèsè fún ètò ẹ̀kọ́ òun lójúṣe Ọ̀yọ́ ETF jaburata òun làwọn àṣeyọrí tí Ọ̀yọ́ ETF ti ṣe o gbogbo onílé iṣẹ́ ọ̀tọ̀kùlúùlú àtẹ̀yìntẹ́ ẹ mọ rírì ìjọba omi tuntun tètò ẹ̀kọ́ tó tún jẹ lógún tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ tìjọba lẹ́yìn láti pàṣẹ Ọ̀yọ́ ETF ẹ kàn sí 2B ọba Kenzua Crescent onírèké GRA Ìbàdàn ẹ sì lè pe alága Ọ̀yọ́ ETF barrister Rahman Abiodun Abdulrahim sórí 081 81 94 74 96 tàbí akọ̀wé aláṣẹ Ọ̀yọ́ ETF sí orí 070 69 43 85 19 Ọ̀yọ́ ETF ló kéde.
Protect every day with hypo.
Germs always find a way back.
So disinfect your living room every day with hypo.
Hypo, go hypo. Protect your home every day with hypo.
No green. Protect every day with hypo.
Hypo, go hypo.
Thank you very much for staying with us. We are still exploring illegal admissions and fake universities in Nigeria, and this was, initiated based on what happened last week in Badagry. But Prof, and of course we still have Professor Adams Onuka in the studio with us. Prof, I was talking about parents and the children, the students who fall prey to these fake institutions and illegal admissions. Now, I know you've mentioned desperation, but beyond desperation, what other reasons make students fall prey to institutions like this?
Well,
considering the fact that parents will also lose money, so why do they fall prey?
No, well, because we said they didn't do due diligence due to desperation. 2, there is competition, whether we like it or not. Let me tell you how you will know there is competition. You maybe in the next few years, you'll get your friend who will tell you, Omoyi, Abiodun, re-admission. It's not, it's telling you as if, but in a way, it's also a kind of way of boosting
pride.
The ego. I don't want to say pride, but boosting the ego. And people are competing. Oh, if their children at 9 went to secondary school, why would my own not go to secondary school at 10? So these are also, I cannot allow, I don't want to stay at home again. Any course. Some people go out, initially they want to do medicine or engineering, and it gets maybe the first year, they didn't get the second year. They say any course. And when they do that course, when they go in, they start pestering the department for change of course. These are just because we compete. We don't even know what we want to do sometime. And we want to, well, everybody is doing it, I want to do it. That is not a good reason. That is not a good reason. You want to do it. Even if you are competing with somebody, you have to compete, in a manner that will be beneficial to you, not the one that will be frustrating at the long run, like these ones now. Okay, maybe some of the children have been there for 2-3 years. Now it's a setback. They start all over. If they had waited at home maybe for another 1 year, they wouldn't have this experience. Okay, that they have to lose 3 years and start all over.
Okay, let's look at the NYSC. You also find out that some of in the past, I'm not talking about now, many of these fake universities were also bringing up children for NYSC and they go to sell. It was at the point of the NYSC we started discovering that some neighboring countries were having, students serving in Nigeria, coming back home to serve their father's land, and those universities were fake.
Yeah.
Now, so I don't know, this conspiracy is so strong and so vibrant that the links, the networking between the people who are involved in it is worrisome. How can we curb further expansion and existence of some of these institutions?
I will come back again to the citizenry. We, as a whole, must be vigilant. And we must know that the downfall of one person is our downfall. By the time we know that gradually, if they continue to, if more people go through the fake, then we are in trouble. Because at the point they come out, they get frustrated, they can take to crime. And if they take to crime, then we are not at peace. So if we know that protecting others is protecting ourselves, and therefore, if there is a fake thing we suspect, just suspect. And then again, for me, I think since NSDC had done this marvelous work in my eyes, the security outfits should be, particularly NSDC, should be tasked with the mandate of uncovering fake, so that the security agencies will not be fighting one another as to whose purview this is. Then people should be ready. The people in the security outfit should do what security people do. When they get information, they don't divulge who give that information. They keep it and work on it and see whether the information is true. Because people are not giving information where they should because they are afraid that they will be exposed. So if the security outfits can cooperate with the people and the people can cooperate with the security outfits, and all of us are ready to protect lives and property of the citizenry, then I think these things will reduce. They will reduce because we will still have those who are criminally minded around us, but it will reduce to the barest minimum, not this kind of 58 at a go.
Now, do we have a law or an act in the country that speaks to this kind of issue? Illegal universities, fake admission, vis-a-vis,
Of course, you see, it may not be particularly for them. I'm sure if the police want to charge them, they will see law. Forgery is a law. In fact, what is forgery? Anything that you fake. So it means they have forged, that they are operating, they had made the people to believe that they have been approved. So it doesn't have to be written something alone that is forgery. It's forgery. I mean, the law people will have a place to put there. And I think I will appeal to our lawyers also and judges. Because you see, some of these things, I will even advocate special tribunal instead of the normal court process so that it can be quick. And anybody...
Just like we had the Orire, the accelerated...
yes, and
procedure.
anybody caught should be jailed without option of fine. So, because this kind of situation need drastic action. Because if you take drastic action, put the person behind the bar, whether for 2 years or thereabout, and confiscate the property. So if there is no law, we are advocating that they begin to think of the law.
Because the point is, these 58 institutions, especially the ones existing in Nigeria,
yes,
they are still there. NUC has only listed them as fake for people to know. It still does not mean that they are not running.
Well,
and there are students there.
And that there are students functioning there,
no, well,
functionally
now,
going there.
Now, well, I think one good thing about the listing is that people will know that this is fake and you withdraw your word. Or if you are self-sponsored, you withdraw. That is one aspect.
What if they are encouraging people to stay that they shouldn't worry?
No, that is why
investigation will come in place.
That is why I said once they are found out, they should be prosecuted. And I am advocating that should be done through tribunal so that it could be fast and that it should be considered as a special crime and so be treated as such. Anybody without option of fine should. And then our lawyers should. You see, one thing I find difficult in law is somebody kills. They don't think of fundamental human rights. When it comes to getting the person now, they will be talking of fundamental human rights. So somebody can commit crime, and then fundamental human rights will lessen the punishment or, all those kind, and then the person is going free.
Okay, but when you're educating the public, Prof, I'd like you to tell us, how do you gain admission into university?
Okay, it's simple. There are a few processes now. The first process is that first, you look at JAMB brochure. You know the
e-brochure.
E-brochure, whether e-brochure, you can go and buy. If you go there, they will say to you because, or you can print. So I think if you have access, once you have paid, you are supposed to have access to everything that will give you relevant information for admission. You get that. You look through the list of courses. You look through the requirements of the particular course you want to go. Look at the universities that offer those courses from the brochure. Then select your preferred university. And of course, if you score, I think what most people use is a minimum of 200. And if you don't score up to that, there are those who use as low as 140. Then you choose that, if you know. Then, after that, you be prepared to do the post-UTME. And in a place like University of Badoo, I know that when we also found that the post-UTME wasn't, because post-UTME actually arose from the Faculty of Technology, because they found out that those who had very high score in UTM were not measuring up. And at a point, they have to be using
to screen them.
Screen them with their school site and all those things. But when that was not sufficient, they said, okay, come and do the test and let us see. And then when we also see that some people can still get it, then the interaction follows. So these are processes. But let me say that, as I said earlier, we only reduce the number of fake admissions, because those who are desperate and are ready to pay money can also see a few discontrol elements in the university system who are ready to smuggle people's name into the list for a fee. So we should be careful about that. Somebody telling you, I can give you, just give me 10,000 or so. Know that is fake. That you can suffer it. I remember it has not just started. In 1997, we had so many fake. When one admission officer came in and started scrutinizing, they discovered so many fake, and they published them. And that is a disgrace. At that time, my boy was qualified, but he didn't have, is it English or so? And I said, I will not. People say you can, they will. I say no. The law is that you get this thing before you get there, not after you get there. And so people were quarreling. But at the end of the day, it happened that just a few months later, the English came and he was admitted. And when these lists were coming up, after 3 months, I called him. I said, how do you feel now? He said, thank you. I said, thank you, sir.
Okay, Prof.
So, you see, that is the thing. Because I have because of the think the work I have done in UI, people think so you are popular, they can do. I said, no, I know the law. The law is that you get these things before, not when you have gotten there. And getting there is fake.
Okay, let's also look at the other side of the fake. This admission of a thing, I'm very sure, I want to believe that the fake universities or institutions also accept JAMB results from these students.
Well, that
to,
you see,
to show them that, look, did you write JAMB? Yes. If you wrote JAMB,
you know,
then can we have your result? Do you have, this is the cutoff? They also have cutoff.
No,
they also have the guidelines.
Yes, you
just to make it look real.
No, the fact is this: the university who does that is because it's fake. JAMB allocates a number, and you take them for clearance. The people you admit, you will still take them to JAMB for clearance.
They don't need to go to JAMB because they are fake.
And that's what I'm saying. So they
students won't know that part.
Students don't know.
Yes, but they would position it in such a way that it will look real. So the cutoff, they will tell you to study medicine. Of course, such universities will not even do. They will not even do medicine in the first instance because they don't have the equipment or they may have. Let's not also preempt them. And so again, they will do the process in such a way that to make sure that you have everything that you should have to present yourself as a candidate.
Do you know that JAMB gives letter to students? They give letter, admission letter. So you see, that is what.
Our investigation, I can tell you categorically that they will provide a copy of such letter to students, or tell them that don't worry, we'll collect it on your behalf. Don't worry, we'll collect it and file it for you. And there's always a way out.
Now,
when it's fake.
Okay, that is why you said we should educate the citizenry.
Yes.
And we are telling them that the process, it does not stop with writing. And when they go, when the university collects your admission letter, they give it to you because you need it even for your NYC. You see, there are things, you need it for other things in the future. If you don't have it, that is why perhaps NYC discover those fake graduates, because you have to have those letters, and then it also go through a system. There is, synergy between the university and NYC, synergy between the university and NUC, synergy between each university and JAMB. So if you don't find these things, the thing is that it's simple. The first thing you are seeking admission, go and find out whether that university is in JAMB. And if it is the Ghana and UK, go and find out from them.
Prof, as we begin to wind down this morning on this segment, let's look at the impact of these fake universities on our education system in Nigeria, especially both locally and internationally. Sometimes we have students who come from the West to study in Nigeria. Sometimes some of them take exchange programs. We see them a lot in University of Ibadan also. What does it have? What impact would it have on our education system?
Externally, it may not have too much impact, except that people may doubt. And of course, they also have the list. Do you know, it's the good thing now is that even AI can tell you if something is fake or not. You just put the name and say, tell me about this university. They will tell you, and if they have doubt, they will tell you. If I want to publish in a journal now, I just go to AI and say, what is the status of this journal? They will give you a rundown and tell you whether it is doubtful and all those kind of things. So we can do our due diligence by even going to AI and going to JAMB and just take the pain to go through all of these things. And above all, once it is not listed and it's a university in Nigeria and it's not listed in JAMB, please don't go.
Okay, finally, let's look at the psychosocial aspect of this conversation. Some people have registered in this institution. They are there already, and they discover it is fake. What advice will you give them? How do you want to encourage them so they don't go to commit suicide? Because at the end of the day, their dreams could be shattered. They lose hope, and they feel it's the end of the world.
Well, I think you may have heard that the downfall of man is not the end of his life. For me, one of the things I have learned in life is that failure is a way to success. When you fail and you know that it's not the end of your life, what it tells you is to become more serious, and you may become the most successful man on earth because you have learnt from your failure. If you also inadvertently or even deliberately found yourself thinking that you will escape it in a fake university and it's closed, you should know that it's not the end of your life. And that, well, if you want me to come from the religious perspective, I will now tell you that I believe that all things work for good to them that love God and are called according to his purpose. And I have experienced that. That is that if you know we cannot, I personally don't believe that you can live religion. You may not mix it with your work, but you can't leave it out of your life. It has to be the philosophy behind your life. So know that God knows that you may make this mistake, and he has also provided a way of escape.
All right, on that note, we want to say a big thank you to Professor Adams Onuka. Professor Adams Onuka is an educational measurement and evaluation scholar. We want to say a big thank you to you for being our guest this morning.
Thank you.
As we extrade illegal admission and fake universities. On this note, we want to go in a break, and when we come back, it's going to be global updates. Thank you for staying tuned.
It's another edition of Global Update on Saturday Special this morning. My name is Bimbo Akombi. United States missiles struck targets across Iran, reaching as far as its Caspian coast on Friday after President Donald Trump vowed major military punishment for Tehran and its Houthi allies in Yemen for extending the Middle East war to a second major shipping choke point, the mouth of the Red Sea. 2 weeks after the collapse of an interim truce meant to end the war, the Iranian armed forces responded by firing at U.S. bases in neighboring Arab countries, warning people there that they may strike non-military buildings used by U.S. personnel. The Houthis, who control northern and western Yemen, have announced a naval blockade on Saudi Arabia, which has diverted millions of barrels of oil each day by pipeline to the Red Sea to skirt Iran's near-total blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. The entrance to the Gulf has so far been the focus of a war that has killed thousands in almost 5 months, stoked global inflation, and fanned fears of an economic downturn. The Houthi fighters struck 2 Saudi tankers on Thursday in the Red Sea's Bab el-Mandeb Strait, boosting oil prices 7% to top $100 per barrel for the first time since May. The attacks forced several other tankers to turn around and head north through the Suez Canal, potentially using a much longer and more expensive route to reach Asia by sailing around Africa. In the meantime, the United States has imposed new tariffs on 60 trading partners in the latest escalation in the trade war reignited by U.S. President Donald Trump when he returned to office last year. Those targeted, including the United Kingdom, China, and the European Union, will face a tariff of 10% to 12.5% on all goods, accounting for almost all American imports. The tariffs, which replace an identical levy which expires today, are based on claims key economic partners have failed to properly tackle forced labor. But U.S. trade expert Caroline Freund said the move is not about forced labor, but that Trump is simply looking for a legal reason to put the tariffs in. The U.S. Supreme Court had ruled earlier this year that many of the tariffs imposed globally under emergency powers were illegally enacted. The 10% to 12.5% duties on imports were proposed last month by the White House, and over concerns they were not doing enough to tackle forced labor. At least 11 people have been killed in Russian attacks on Ukraine, while Ukrainian attacks on Russia's Kirov region killed 6 others, officials on both sides of the conflict said. A Russian missile attack killed 6 people and wounded dozens in the Kiev region, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said. A rescue operation is currently underway in the Kiev region following a Russian missile strike. Tragically, 6 people were killed, Zelensky said. Earlier, Kiev Mayor Vitaly Klitschko reported explosions in the city and called on residents to stay in shelters as air defense systems were operating. Separately, Vadim Filashkin, the governor of the city of Sloviansk, said 5 people were killed and 9 others injured after Moscow dropped 2 aviation bombs on the city. Meanwhile, in southern Mykolaiv region, a Russian drone attack on port infrastructure damaged 2 civilian vessels. Acting regional governor Ehui Reshetilov said on Telegram no one was injured in that attack. Andy Bonham has begun working at the new number 10 North in Manchester as some of his ministerial team join him at the new hub. The branch of Downing Street in northwest England will form part of the Prime Minister's aim to shift power from Whitehall and Westminster to regions across the country. The Prime Minister arrived at the building by car yesterday morning, just after First Secretary of State Louise Hay.
If he doesn't mind, I'm really pleased that our new Chancellor of the Exchequer is here today. John, are you blending in today, or are you... I know it sounds like it was woe is me, we've had such a hard week, but we were in a pub together yesterday, weren't we? Rating pub snacks, which didn't look like quite hard work. But it's brilliant that you're here, John, and next to John is our first Secretary of State, Louise Haigh, and that, I hope, is sending a message to everybody here who has come into number 10 North in its early days, that you've got the full support of the government from the very top. Prime Minister, Chancellor, First Secretary of State. That's a very powerful message that we're sending today, that the political commitment is there. You know, this isn't about government working in its old way. It's about the Treasury, number 10, close together, the heart of government, then driving the same mission from here right out into all parts of the country. And I'm delighted that the Cabinet Secretary is here too today. Antonia, thank you for everything you have done to make today possible.
Education Secretary Lucy Powell is also expected. The ministers are expected to work regularly from the Manchester base, with up to 300 civil servants expected to join them by the end of next year. Bonham will chair a meeting of the National Economic Council, a cabinet committee first launched in 2008 to respond to economic challenges around the UK. The meeting will bring together senior ministers and regional mayors to put devolution at the center of the government's mission to make Britain better. Bonham's first day as Prime Minister in number 10 North will include talks with business leaders, including representatives of the Federation of Small Business, the Confederation of British Industry, and the British Chambers of Commerce about how to generate growth and investments. And finally, Spain declared a national emergency over wildfires for the first time yesterday, and France asked for help from the European Union to tackle a blaze on the Atlantic coast as searing heat fueled fires across Europe and forced tens of thousands of evacuations. French authorities ordered the total evacuation of the Cap Ferret Peninsula, a tourism hotspot busy for the summer season as smoke and flames drew closer to homes. About 63,000 people were evacuated from the area, many brought to safety by boat, officials said. Close by, in the town of Biscarrosse, another large fire also forced residents to leave their homes. A fire that began in Saumur, north of Cap Ferret, is threatening to cut off the only road out of the peninsula and is the largest so far this season in France, Interior Minister Laurent Nunez told local television. It has torn through 10,000 hectares, that is about 24,700 acres of land, and burnt 80 homes, completely destroying about 50 of them, he said. In Spain, more than 10,000 people were evacuated from towns in the mountains west of the capital, Madrid, as firefighters sought to prevent 3 fires in the region and neighboring Avila province from joining Interior Minister Fernando Grande Malasca said. And that will be all on Global Update on Saturday Special. My name is Bimbo Akombi. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, thanks to Bimba Kombi for that global update. And that's what we have for you this weekend on Saturday Special. Whatever it is you do, enjoy your weekend to the maximum, but make sure you're security conscious and you stay alert. I am Oluwa Fumbi. Hello.
And you know that anything illegal is purely illegal. Stay out of anything that is fake and ensure that you do the right thing. If you are doing anything fake currently, please turn a new leaf because it has a repercussion at every given point. My name is Jadi Sola Ajibola, encouraging you to enjoy your weekend. Bye.